Bookie Beatdown coming at you. Paul, Cody, UFC 318 from New Orleans is in the books. Last fight of Dustin Poirier's career. And you couldn't ask for two. I mean, if he won, it would have been, I guess, a little bit cooler in terms of, his legacy and stuff. But like, what a great fight. An absolute banger. It delivered about as much as you could expect for like guys a little bit longer in the tooth at this point. But we're not here to talk about that. We are here to start with the first fight of the night. We had Carly Judas taking on Nicole Cagliari. Judas, third round TKO. This fight, it really kind of came down to five unsuccessful takedowns for Cagliari in the first round, and that was kind of like the writing is on the wall. Judas was putting up tons of volume on her. Her eye was pretty banged up after Cagliari's arm was pretty banged up after round two or after round one, and kind of like a no mas situation. She got taken out. Nice performance for Judas, who's one of the best. What, like 4-2, 4-2? Is that a record?
No, she's 5-2 with the win. Yeah.
Okay, with the win, she's 5-2.
Yeah.
One of the better ones for like that type of record. Looks kind of spotty. She's had some tough fights for somebody with that little experience.
I think Carly Judas is an absolute problem for sure. I mean, again, this is a girl that comes from a college softball background and really only got into fighting sports a little bit later. And you just see she's still very young, but the volume, the output, the striking, she's not necessarily the most accurate. I think she only landed like 48% of her significant strikes in this fight, but she threw like 225 significant strikes, 235 total strikes, and landed well over 100. She does that in all of her fights. It's super big volume. It's just a matter of, can she get grounded? Does she have a weak ground game? And I think in this fight, she answered a lot of those questions. Cagliari went 0 for 7 with takedowns within the first 2 rounds. In the third round, she finally got her first takedown. And when Carly just immediately got back up and start basically teeing off on her like she was a heavy bag, the combinations were flowing. It was a good stoppage. I had a minus 120 for her to win by decision. So that one was like, a little bitter sweet, I suppose. But yeah, I'm kind of sold on this girl. I mean, again, it's like her first 2 losses are nice performances and they're split decision losses. And since then, she knocks out Dubin with a first round head kick and then comes back here and beats Cagliari, who was a little bit undersized, but a very quality victory. Yeah, I think future is bright for her. And then for Cagliari, unfortunately, there's, she's 5'2". She's a little bit undersized for the weight class. I'm not saying she couldn't win a fight in the UFC, but I don't think that she factors in as a contender at any point. But yeah, this is a good way to kick off the card. And then obviously, because Carly is from Louisiana, I think the fans got their money's worth there.
100%. Next fight up. I took the risk that McVeigh was better than, he hadn't fought anybody. He had fought a bunch of scrubs, but I was like, he's running through those scrubs. I had McVeigh money line, had CLV, hashtag CLV trash can picture that I like posting in the chats and on social media and stuff like that sometimes. And I had McVeigh by sub. Well, he got his ass subbed. There's levels to this game, and McVeigh was not it. I will, sometimes sometimes you're like, oh, I got unlucky on that bet. You're just like, yeah, the opener was actually probably a little bit short. Bruno should have been like a 10 to 11, 12 to 1 favorite. Like, I don't know if Jackson McVeigh even had a path in this fight, to be perfectly honest. Good win for Bruno.
Yeah, well, Bruno, like when the fight first got announced, the narrative was like, this is unfair for McVeigh. Like he's gonna get you go from fighting Cedric Dumas wearing an ankle bracelet to fighting Bruno Ferreira. Like that's a tough ask. But I mean, I'm partly guilty. I stayed on the Bruno Ferreira train, but I had him a little bit lower. The guy made it look like he was a minus 1,500 favorite, so obviously should have loaded up. But it's the size, and like we're all guilty of it. My buddy Boyan owns a security company, and like he employs mostly fighters, but a few guys that are just big guys. And despite that, like a bunch of them are either BJJ purple belts, or this guy's got 10 boxing matches, or this guy's got 3 amateur MMA fights, or this guy's even a pro fighter. It's like he's got this one guy named Dose who's like 6'8", and cannot fight, is not a fighter. It's not athletic, doesn't move quick, knows basic self-defense at most. And everyone's always like, dude, I wouldn't want to fight that guy. Dude, when Dose is around, wouldn't want to go with Dose. It's like, you would much, 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 much rather go with Dose than any of those other guys. Nobody sees it that way. So Jackson is just so much bigger than Bruno. And we'll talk about Prado when we get to him in a little bit. But like, you're not really the biggest guy at this weight class. Maybe you could drop down a weight class, and you're taking on a guy that's much larger than you, so the optics look bad. But this was always Bruno Ferrer, just leaps and bounds, way more experience, has fought at this level, has a bunch of credible wins, and striking is really the best aspect to his game. The way he submitted McVeigh like that, easy work. And for McVeigh, this is a tough ask in your UFC debut. He could still be okay. I don't think he's going to be world class or anything like that, but like, this is just a tough debut. You got it out of the way, get a full training camp in, come back, go to the drawing board. You finally felt some resistance, but it feels like a disservice to bring in a guy that should be fighting an LFA, should be fighting guys with 500 or better than 500 records, should be fighting guys that are UFC dropouts or castaways, or guys that also want to get on the Contender Series. It's just a big jump from you're supposed to fight in the Contender Series to your short notice against Dumas to now you're taking on Bruno Ferreira. So I don't know. I should have just loaded up on Bruno. It's easier to say these things after the fact, but he was always the side, apparently.
Yeah, correct. Hindsight is always 20/20, as they say, and it's kind of like any Ryan Spann fight, to be perfectly honest. I didn't touch this one. I was like, I'm gonna, like, if I do get involved, it'll be like I'll add Bretsky if he gets through round one, and it looks like Spann's getting a little bit tired, because I'm not convinced by the Ryan Spann at heavyweight experiment going on here. But Bretsky's kind of chinny, obviously completely outmatched in muscles early in this fight, and that's really all it takes. But hindsight 20/20, we should all have loaded up on Spann round one, Spann by sub round one, because that's what he likes doing to guys when he gets the dubs.
And if you got a book that offers submission specific props, Spann by guillotine choke just seems like it was an absolute given. When the guy does sub people, he's got a nasty guillotine choke. But otherwise, I do agree with you. He's taking on a guy in Lucas Brzeski that's 1-6 in the UFC, so hasn't had a whole lot of success. Fights start standing, as they all do. And Ryan Spann's not really getting the better of the striking. In fact, Brzeski's landing a couple okay punches, and it looks like he's about to catch his timing, and then Spann just shoots a blast double leg. This thing was more of a football tackle than a clean takedown. And I thought to myself, geez, Brzeski's, a big guy, but Spann took him down. And of course, as Brzeski works his way back up, he grabs a guillotine choke. It's nice to say he won a fight in heavyweight, and the commentators are very much like, oh, Spann needed this, and this furthers his career. But how many low-level heavyweights do you got on the roster that he's going to be able to get away with that exact strategy? It's going to be harder to take these guys down. If you don't grab this first-round guillotine really quick, make it to the second round, is his gas tank going to fall apart? But, I mean, let's not think about that. I'm happy for Ryan Spann because the guy's tenured. He's had a lot of fights. He's had a bad run of luck. It's nice to see a guy like that pick up a win. And then for Brzeski, yeah, again, he's 1-6 in the UFC. I imagine this is the end for him. But don't
Series is coming.
Yeah, exactly.
There's other bum heavyweights you can pay less. That's just the nature of the business at this point.
That's the nature of the business. It's like, hey, we brought you in, you went 1-6, and then we're gonna bring in the next guy, and he's gonna go 1-6, and we're gonna bring in the next guy. Like, it's just, yeah, it's how it goes. When you talk about hindsight 20/20, it's like Spann should have been top ticket. Like, he smoked him, but yeah, he's not a trustworthy guy. So you had to be a little bit resourceful with how you played him this week. And yeah, first round submission, you're right. It's like, it's so much easier to look at after the fact.
Easy.
If he was going to win, he was going to look like $1 million, but he's a 50-50 guy. So
that's always
all
what
good.
happens with him.
Good win for Spann.
Yeah, I wish I took it. It was so obvious that sometimes some part of my problem is that, like, I try to be like, well, but what if that doesn't happen? It's just like, well, that's the most likely thing that's going to happen. It gets you off of some plays that, like, that come through 100% very, very cleanly like this. But it's a crazy sport we play. Crute armbar round one. Kind of another result that it's like, that's 100% exactly how you would expect it to go down. I'm not even gonna kill myself too much on this one, because like the prop on this one was like plus 150 plus I saw plus 130, I believe, at some spots. So it was a little bit shorter than, we talked about it on our prop show on the Discord. Sorry, on the Patreon on Friday, and we're just like, like this is exactly what we thought was going to happen, but seems like the price is a little bit short. Pragno did have 21 of 36 significant strikes, taking down 3 of 6 times. Good for Crew because he needed this one, I will say.
Yeah, he needed this one big time. Jimmy's back was up against the wall, but this just represented a step down in competition. Like the UFC did Ryan Spann a favor. They did Jimmy Crute a favor. It's like, okay, well, we'll give you someone that's a little bit older and a little bit slower and doesn't have a ground game, doesn't have great submission defense or takedown defense. And even if you're struggling to take him down and he's able to land these 21 strikes, he's not the biggest power puncher either. You should be able to take a few. And he did take a few. Jimmy took a few good shots. But he didn't want no part of the extended striking exchanges with Prachnio, so he would just shoot, get takedowns. Kudos to Prachnio on the first 2 get-ups. It's like Jimmy's trying to grab onto a guillotine choke. Jimmy's trying to grab a Darce choke. Jimmy's trying to wrap him up in a quick submission, and it's like Prachnio was able to avoid them and get back up, but Jimmy sticks to him. Crude's got a decent gas tank. He pushes a pretty heavy pace. This seems like a matter of when he was going to get the fight to the ground. But yeah, armbar, man. You don't see them a ton. This thing didn't look like Prachnio was going to tap. It was like, oh my God, this thing's hyperextended, and Prachnio was just going to take it like a boss. And then Jimmy folds it over his hip. Like he's just going to pop your elbow straight out of place and snap your arm in half. And finally got the submission. So yeah, it's his first win in 5 years. And for Jimmy Crute, I mean, to me, it's always seemed like he's got all the skills in the world. It's been a mental lapse. This fight looks good on paper. Quick first round submission win, 3 takedowns. It wasn't that easy. His striking, as you mentioned, you got outstruck 4-1. 21-5, he got outlanded. He needed 3 takedowns because even a guy like 36-year-old Marcin Prachnio with no reasonable ground game is easily just getting back up. The submission, yeah, you caught him, but Prachnio represents the lowest level. So similar to Ryan Spann, it worked this time. I got a quick takedown. I got a quick submission, easy money. But it's like, that's the worst guy in the division. How do you do against the 3rd or 4th worst guy in the division? Well, it's tougher. Now, how do you do with the top 25 guy? Or how do you do with the top 15 guys? So because Jimmy's been around for a while now and he's had the layoffs and he's had time to work things out, he didn't really look any better to me in this fight than he did in other fights. But it was a great style clash and he capitalized. So I'm very happy for Jimmy Crute because he's a good guy. He deserves a win. He deserves to get the monkey off his back. And then hopefully he can use that momentum to give himself some confidence and make some improvements. But there's not a ton of Marcin Prachnio for you in the division. Prachnio a few years ago, sure. Prachnio now, not the same guy. As we'll talk about Michael Johnson, apparently being old really doesn't matter. But certain guys age a little bit differently, I guess is the real moral of the story on this one.
Yeah. What was I going to say? 2 arm bars. 2 arm bars in men's fighting in the first 4 fights. You don't see that very often.
Yeah, you don't.
Not many arm bars. Not many arm bars in general. You don't even see them nearly as much in women's fighting anymore. Like everyone's kind of figured out. But they were pretty sick arm bars. I will give credit where credit's due on those. Next up, Dulatov ices Fugit. 21-14 in terms of significant strikes. 4 minutes and 6 seconds into round 1. We were joking in the Discord about how screwed you would be if Dulatov wanted your girl. Because 1, he's way better looking than you, and 2, kick your ass. UFC's got to be excited about this guy because comes from a country that's that has a lot of a big fan base. We break down Octagon, we break down KSW. There's lots of German fighters and stuff in the mix over there, but they don't really have a star in the UFC at the current time, right? Like there hasn't been somebody that they can really, take a card over to Berlin or something like that. I'm not saying it's going to happen because he beat Adam Fugit, but win a couple more fights and they could have Fight Night Munich or something like that with Dulatov up top. So yeah, I imagine Dana and Hunter and Sean are all salivating at the thought of what they could do with Dulatov moving forward.
Yeah, well, I mean, you see it in the Olympics all the time where it's like, oh, congratulations, this country just won the gold medal. It's like, there's no way that guy's from that country. And it's like, well, he moved to that
Yeah.
country, but they support him. And
Yeah.
Canada's the same way. It's like, well, who's your best boxer? It's like, oh, we got Arthur Biraslanov. And it's like, what? He's not from Canada. Well, he lives in Canada and he reps Canada, and now the country gets behind him. And
Our
yeah, we need
entire
a tough Russian guy to represent us. Hamzat Chimaev, he's got all of Sweden behind him. Mohammed Makayev has got all of the UK behind him. This guy's got Germany behind him.
yeah,
And
it's
he's
like
Chechnyan and he fights like a Chechnyan.
yeah.
And but he showed a lot of German efficiency in this
Mhm.
fight, Paul, because he's known for his big power and being like borderline reckless. I thought everything he did was like super calculated. Fuget's like not a world beater. He's a little bit older himself and has not had a whole lot of success in the UFC, but he normally doesn't get iced in the first 3 minutes. And a lot of times he gets knocked down and then gets punched out. Like this was just laser precision down the pipe. He took his time, he set it up. He's still young. And as you mentioned, he's marketable. He does a little bit of acting, does a little bit of modeling, tough fighter. He's kind of the complete package. You can't rush him. Don't be throwing him to the wolves right away. Yeah, take your time and build this guy up, and you definitely have a UFC fight night Berlin with him on it. At some point, build it up, no doubt about it. So very solid performance. He went off at like -700, so it's like, okay, is it warranted? Yes, absolutely warranted. And for Fugit, props to be stepping up to these tough fights. Like, what are his losses? Michael Morales, and he lost to Mike Malott, and he's now lost to Dulatov. Like, damn, dude,
Yeah,
mad respect. I hope they don't cut you.
he needs a
You're a company
softball.
man, but yeah, like give him a layup at some point. He's done his job. Help him out a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, to go back to like when you were talking about like, oh, well, this person's not really from there. Just like, brother, our country celebrates, the um all of the sprinters and stuff like that. None of those. They're all Jamaican. The
Donovan
sprinters that
Bailey.
won the relay for Canada,
Yeah,
and what's the name of Donovan Bailey,
yeah.
who won the
Legend.
gold medal? You ever heard Donovan Bailey speak? Like
He's a legend.
he's he's hanging out down by the beach. Yeah. Okay, let's get to the main event here. Atiba Goat, the silent assassin. Goodness gracious. There was actually like money piling in on Valentine late on fight day there on Saturday. What are y'all thinking? What are you all thinking stepping in front of this absolute specimen? One, feels like every single time his technique is looking crisper and more dialed in. 19 of 37 significant strikes. And let me tell you, or sorry, total strikes. I mean, they're all significant. But yeah, there's levels to significant strikes. He is landing bombs on you. Could he guess doing that to somebody else with a better beard? Perhaps. There's no need to rush him. He's 23 years old, minute and 10 seconds, absolutely blew through him. Was not competitive. Valentine was like shaking his head, like, nope, that didn't hurt me. It's just like, okay, bud. Okay, we'll see how this shakes out. And it didn't shake out long. Just a little bit over a minute. I actually played one of those props of like gone in 60 seconds on this. It was like 13-1 for Atiba inside of a minute. And just couldn't quite get there. But I had under 1.5. I had him in parlays. I had him by cut KO. Atiba, Gauthier, and then on the PFL card, that Simba really made my Saturday. Your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, Simba was awesome. That helped out where Eblin, I guess the over 3.5 is okay on that fight, but Eblin tapping out with like 8 seconds left was like, oh man. And then on this card, I mean, we've yet to get to it, but two favorites that I really thought would do it much better, Kevin Holland and Daniel Zellhuber, not so much. But for the guys like Atiba Gauthier that were actually a little bit better priced than them, he absolutely delivered. This fight, in many ways, looked exactly like Bob Barker versus Happy Gilmore. He just like pumped him, right? He hit him with 2-3 shots, good shots, and Valentin's rocked. And Valentin puts his hands up and waves them on like, buddy, give it to me. It was like when Bob's like, you're done? It's like, let's go. Bang, bang, hit the deck. It's like, now you're done. That's how this one went down. Atiba Gauthier, I know the likeness, obviously everyone's jumping on it. He's just like Frankie Murner, big power, intimidating guy. This guy's a middleweight, not even a heavyweight, but boy, oh boy, does he pack a heavyweight style of punch. Is he super well rounded yet? No, you got to do your proper due diligence with him, build him up. put resources into him, and then you got a star on your hands. I mean, his timing's there, his speed's there, the power's there. Obviously, he's very physical. We saw at weigh-ins, it wasn't the easiest cut for him making 185 pounds. So just let him nuke a bunch of guys at 185. And at some point, this guy's likely going to 205, which is a stick in the mud division that needs contenders. So bright future for Atiba Gauthier. I think him and guys like Dulatov, even though they're not fighting a super high caliber, and they may be like Peyton Talbot, where at some point they're going to have to stumble, similar to Peyton Talbot, they'll stumble and they'll come out better. They look like they're legit prospects. Everyone loses at some point. That's fair. But making the improvements. And in Atiba Gauthier's case, he does have one career loss by split decision. And since then, it's like this guy's making very rapid growth to all of his skills. He's what, 23 years old? Like, oh my God. Imagine this guy when he's 26 or 27 years. Yeah, it's gonna be an absolute problem for the division. So very quality victory from Atiba, and can't wait for what the future has in store for him.
I will say, I saw some of the people on social media talking about, oh, he's middleweight in Ngannou. I was saying that before the Medina fight. So
that is true. You did. No,
I said it before the Medina.
That.
I watched his Contender Series fight, and I was just like, kind of extrapolating. You're like, there's some problems there, but like when you have somebody of this let's face it, guys over here in this part of the world, in America or even in Canada, if you are that fast, athletic, long, you don't end up in MMA. It's just as simple as that. You end up being an NFL running back, NFL linebacker. You end up playing in the NBA. Like, there's a level of athleticism, and those types of guys, when they live in America, they get scooped up from their Pop Warner's football team or something like that. They don't end up in combat sports typically. It's pretty rare, because one, there's more money in those sports for most people at the very least. That's why I find him just kind of like a very fascinating thing. I'm sure there's still holes in like the grappling game, maybe takedowns against a really good guy, but yeah, 23 years old. We do not have to rush this guy at all. Just let him just absolutely nuke a couple guys or a bunch of guys for the next year and a half. It's not like he's, injuring himself in the process of killing these guys. So keep him relatively busy, but don't rush him. If he's 25, gets to the title, that's great. But yeah, slow and steady wins the race. Moving on down, we got Prado versus Veretnikov. Close, super greasy fight. We liked Prado. I had Prado with this same game parlay that we built on the Friday show, and he got those takedowns. There were some people who tagged me about the sneaky takedown. He shot 10 takedowns in the fight. I got a little greedy on the significant strikes, and obviously I had the wrong result, but got pretty damn close to catching this 10-1 same game parlay on this fight. I don't know what to make of this for Prado moving forward, though. We were saying it on the Friday show as well. It's just he seems just so green and raw, and I think he would actually be better served going back to LFA Brazil or some other regional show, collecting some bodies, collecting some lower level opponents, and working on his craft, because he's so young. I think he takes a lot of damage, and he's just not this is a pretty bad loss. I think this loss sets him back quite a bit. Veretnikov is one of the lower tier guys in the division. Wouldn't be surprised to see Prado get released, disappear for a couple of years, and then come back. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say because, I actually thought he won the fight, but not enough to scream robbery, not enough to be upset about it. But just it comes down to round two. First round, he gets the takedown. He throws up this arm bar, and Vretnikov drives him on his head. And dude, his head smashes into the canvas, and then he rolls to be on his back to look up at Vretnikov. And you can just see the way he rolls to his back, like he's out of it. And then Vretnikov rocks his shit. 3 or 4 good overhand rights or from a stand-up position over top of him, and really hurts him. So he gets up eventually in that first round and had some good success, closer to the end of the first. But man, it just the optics are real bad. And in the second round, it's much of the same. The significant strike numbers were pretty close, and Prado had the takedown. And Prado had almost 3 minutes of control time. The total strikes was 32-32 for the round, but slight edge to Vritnikov on the significant strikes. And to me, that's why I'm not upset we didn't get the split. I understand it. Is that when Prado would neither guy's American. Whenever Prado would land in that second round, and he landed some nice right hands, he landed some really good shots. The place was crickets. Whenever Vritnikov would like line him up with one of those knees to the body, the place would like audibly gasp, like, ooh, oh. So it's like, okay, those big shots from Vretnikov are the more damaging blows. And so what are the judges looking at? Damage. That's the number one scoring criteria. And even though it was close numbers wise, and even though one guy had a takedown and some control time, Vrennikov probably did land the better shots in that round. So they gave it to him. Comes down to the third, and I thought Prado fought an excellent third round. Unfortunately, he was already down on two judges' scorecards, 2-0 at this point. So it was just too little too late. I don't think there's anything wrong with Prado. He's 23. I understand you're not the only person I've heard echo that same statement. It's like he'd be better off on the regional scene so he could develop properly, not being stuck here. This is where I disagree. Prado makes about 16,000 and 16,000 per fight. Plus, Venom's going to give him $3,000-$4,000. So even when he loses, he's making 20 grand. Plus, because he's a UFC fighter, he can get some appearances and some seminars, and he's signing autographs for tops. He's not a star, but he's within the world's premier organization. If he gets released and he was to willingly, I'll just go to LFA. Well, LFA is going to pay him $2,000. So now you're not living in South Florida. You're not getting work at Killcliff FC. You're not going to American Top Team. You're not working with some of the best minds and the best coaches and the best training partners because you're making $2,000 per fight and you're conceivably going to fight 3 times a year. So you're making $6,000. So now, because you're only making $6,000 a year, you got to go get a full-time job. And because you have a full-time job, you're now only training half of the time. Like this guy's best option is hopefully stay in the UFC, continue to stay stateside, continue to train full-time. He's 23. He won that third round against Vritnikov all day. He showed improvements to his game, but yeah, he's not a welterweight, and he's fighting guys that are much too big. And in this case, more experienced, and just got off to a hot start on him. His takedowns look not bad. He 3 for 10, but 3 solid takedowns. 6 minutes and 50 seconds of control time. His chin, I mean, we always know how good that is, but it held up. His leg kicks were a little bit better. His right hands were finding the mark. Didn't win, split decision, close fight. But putting him back to the regional scene could set him back 2 years. Financially, it's going to devastate him, and then there's no guarantee that he's really going to make that many improvements at all. He'd be a better fighter because of this loss, and if they give him one more in the UFC against a contender series type guy or a guy just as young as him or relatively to that same experience level, overall skill level, I think this guy's going to eventually break on through. Just Saturday wasn't his night.
Yeah. But yeah, he's 1-4 in the UFC. If he goes down to 155, I pulled up like the Tapology lightweight rankings, and I was like top 50. Jordan Levitt. Do you think he gets through Jordan Levitt?
Jordan Levitt's number, did you say he's 50? Because if that's the case, it's like, damn, lightweight's way better than I thought.
It's really good, man.
Yeah.
Claudio Puelles is 49. I think he could beat Puelles.
Puelles is probably retired. When's the last time
This
he
is
fought?
including Bellator, though, right?
It's including everywhere, but you're
Yeah.
right. I mean, how many guys in ACA kick this guy's ass? I don't know, 5 or 6? Like,
Terrence McKinney. That would be
yeah.
fun.
It would be fun because can McKinney just absolutely smoke right through him? But
I don't know.
I don't know. But I don't know if he'd knock him out, but he could certainly choke his ass out, I think. McKinney can do McKinney can do anybody in the first 2.5 minutes. And then after that, things get greasy. But yeah, if you know you're a fast starter, then just get out to the fastest start possible and put this guy away.
Yeah, as you roll up there, it's just like, I don't know, yeah. Lightweight's a dragon's den. We'll see what they do with Prado next. But I know I understand what you were saying in terms of financially, but I think he'd maybe even be a better fighter just for it. You have to imagine the kid's like confidence is pretty shaken. He's had some pretty tough fights, don't get me wrong, but it's gonna take a lot of damage, especially if he stays at welterweight. His striking defense is pretty bad. His grappling's not good enough to really get him out of those type of situations. I think he's solid. I just think I don't think he's ready. Marvin, the Italian Dream, Vittori loses to Brendan Allen. This is probably another case of like we're in Louisiana. I wasn't listening with commentary on. I thought Vittori edged out the last two rounds. There's a Twitter account as well that has like some sort of like model or like computer that like keeps track of that stuff. It thought that Marvin Vittori edged it. There's no robbery here by any stretch of the imagination. But the crowd, Brendan Allen being a hometown guy, probably people being behind him. I feel like that may be. I had no idea what they were saying on the commentary or anything like that, but that could be one of those things that kind of rigged it a little bit. Not rigged it, but swung it in Brendan Allen's direction. Very close fight, very entertaining fight. I believe fight of the night between the two of them. But Brendan Allen digs deep, gets the decision win. A lot of us kind of thought that he would gas out. I even thought he was going to gas out after round one, and he still hung around. So good for him.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good performance from Brendan Allen. And I did have Marvin Vittori. He was one of my two underdogs on the week, plus money. I thought this would be close. I thought it would be competitive. I thought he could edge it out. We knew that the hometown crowd would be behind Brendan Allen, but to be honest with you, it wasn't a hometown crowd thing. This fight takes place in Las Vegas, takes place wherever. I thought Brendan Allen won. And that's not to say it wasn't close and extremely competitive, which it was. And if they fought 10 times, no doubt Marvin Vittori beats him 5 of those times. But this is why the game is a game of moments, right? So the first round starts off, Brendan Allen hits Vittori with a left hook that splits him open. So there's a bunch of visible blood. Plus he gets a takedown, tries to grab a rear naked choke. Marvin gets up. And the last 3 minutes of that round are Marvin backing him up, landing nice straight lefts down the pipe, landing big shots. But the blood is streaming out of his face. The big shot that opened him up was the biggest punch of the round. The takedown was the second biggest moment of the round. He grabbed the neck. Oh my God, maybe he's going to choke him out. The two biggest moments of the round belong to Brendan Allen, and they happen early in the round. The rest of it is him backing up, getting slapped out with some hard Vittori shots. But he got the first round because of that. The second round, it's the same. He rocks Vittori with a right hand. Vittori does like the robot. He's hurt. Allen swarms. He lands 5 or 6 punches. Vittori takes it. The cut that was already existing from the first round reopens. Blood comes out. And then Vittori starts backing him up and landing huge shots. But man, what was the biggest shot of the round? Well, that right hand definitely stung him. Vittori landed some really solid punches, but none of them hurt Brandon Allen. None of them busted up Brandon Allen. So I gave the round to Brandon Allen. And then the third round, it's close, it's competitive, it's a good round. But yeah, Marv won the third round. And had he not gotten split open with the left hook early in the first, I think he probably won that first round. And had he not gotten, temporarily rocked with that right hand that caused everyone to jump out of their seats, which caused Brandon Allen to follow it up, Marv standing up against the cage, Brandon Allen unloads. Visually, the optics, those big moments, those took the otherwise very close rounds. And if they fought again, maybe you don't bust up. Maybe there isn't that blood. Maybe that right hand didn't temporarily catch you and undo all that excellent work you had otherwise done. But yeah, for my money's worth and just from my perspective, I thought Brendan Allen won the first 2 rounds and was the rightful winner of the fight. Close, competitive. I don't think it was a better fight than Max Holloway, Dustin Poirier, so I'm not sure why it was fight of the night. But Max and Dustin Poirier are all multimillionaires. So, yeah, give it to Marvin Brendan Allen. Who cares? It's 50 grand. These guys fought for it. Very entertaining fight. Run it back. Maybe Marvin wins, but unfortunately, we just didn't get there this time.
Yeah, and like Holloway and Poirier probably getting taken care of in other ways, right? They may be getting like a cut of like gate or pay-per-views or something like that. Like, give it to guys that need it, would enjoy it, and definitely need it a little bit more. I'm sure. Dustin Poirier's got plenty of money. He's fine. Max does too.
Yeah, Max seemed more upset about it than anything. Dustin's just kind of like, man, I got a hot sauce company and, life's good. Max kind of like, what the hell, man? We didn't get the money. He even says, like, I don't know how he phrases it, but it's like, Dana loves you. You should go talk to him and get us $50,000. It's like, dude, it's all good. You guys got paid. It was a fun fight. No need to get greedy. But this card actually had, this is the funny thing about it. The first fight, Judy's third round TKO, Bruno Ferreira, first round submission. Ryan Spann, first round submission. Jimmy Crute, first round submission. Islam Dulatov, first round knockout. Atiba Gauthier, a first round knockout. And then the rest of the card is to sit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 decisions to end the card after starting it off 6 straight finishes.
Wild.
But all of those decisions were really good fights, man. Like, they were all good fights. What was the worst one? Johnson Zellhuber. If that's the worst fight of the night on the last 7 or 8 fights, that was a pretty damn good card. So financially, that one killed me. But I mean, yeah, this is a really fun, entertaining card. I hope we all get bonuses.
Freite versus Ige was probably the worst.
Yeah, that's fair. I think I was just so hyped for Pitbull to like. I took some shit on that fight this week, right? People are like, "What are you looking at? You don't know what you're looking at." But I think I was just more hyped to see Patricio win a fight in the UFC. You're right. It was kind of
standing,
it was more
like
of a
grinding,
match and,
like it was not. He was very he fought very, very smart to get the win. But yeah, well, I would not say I thought it very much under delivered in what we kind of expected in terms of like entertainment factor. But it's not by no means was like a horrible fight, but like you have so many other good fights. That was like the quote unquote stinker, I suppose. Yeah. Great night of fights in terms of entertainment.
I'm just gonna plug one thing in. You keep talking for 1 minute.
All right, we got Lock Dog taking on Kyler Phillips. Kyler Phillips wins round 1, not 100% convincingly, but edges him out on the numbers 29-22, and then rounds 2 and 3. It was kind of very, very predictable in this sense. A lot of people, Kyler Phillips didn't really even try to lean on the wrestling, particularly in round 1, but the cardio fell off of a cliff. 41-4 in significant strikes in round 2. And Vincius basically just dog walked him. Like, Vincius is one of those weird kind of characters that his regional tape and stuff like that, when he first came in, you weren't 100% convinced with this guy. And like, as he's grown up and gotten better in the UFC, which is pretty, I mean, I suppose it happens to a lot of people, but like, he's really, really taken it to a different level since he joined the UFC. I mean, he was already in the top 15. Now he's got to win over Kyler Phillips. I mean, he's going to start getting top 10 fights now, and he deserves it. Vincius, Lock Dog, is a problem. It's a real problem.
Yeah, he is an absolute problem. And I just feel like, similar to Roy Jones, he's going to have like a really good run. And then at some point, when his reflexes just get a little bit slower, then the fall from grace will be huge, because he fights with the weirdest style, man. His hands are at his hips and he is just marching you down. And he's quick, man. Like, he's agile. Like, you throw punches and he's able to bob to the left and slip to the right and drop under and come up, like, just very, very quirky. How do you even get ready for this? But man, it's just like he's a man on a mission. And for Kyler Phillips, I've seen a lot of people being like, man, Kyler Phillips was looking good in the Kyler Phillips always looks good in the first round. That's his thing. He was moving. He's quick. He's agile. He's moving left to right. He's moving laterally, just trying to keep Lock Dog off him. But Vinicius not going anywhere, man. He just constantly walks you down, throws these head kicks, these body kicks. It's like he's throwing everything he's got in it. The commentators kept being like, man, this is a lot of movement from Kyler Phillips. All this movement is going to be tiring on him. And I'm thinking, like, man, Vinicius is throwing 100% power. Like, he can't catch him. And he is just throwing everything he's got. Would that not be tiring? But that's his style. Like, that's what he's used to. This is how he fights all of his fights. He's got fire hydrant hips all of a sudden. Like, how does Bernardo Sopai get you down 3 times? And since then, far better wrestlers are not coming even close. Well, it's like Paul said. The glow up has been fantastic. I mean, he's getting better in real time, fight to fight, bigger, stronger, faster, and becoming a serious problem. When you look at the division, it's like, how many of these guys realistically want to step to him? He doesn't have the biggest name in the division, but he's a problem, dude. He'll hurt you. He'll march you down. It's a super tough fight. And if you beat him, I mean, put this into consideration. I guess hindsight's 2020. I should have Vinicius at the top, but he's minus 140. That's it, -140. Meanwhile, Kevin Holland's a -700 favorite. Daniel Zellhuber's a -650 favorite. Even the favorites that were good, like Atiba Gauthier was -550. Jimmy Crute was -350. Ryan Spann got up to -250. Bruno Ferreira was -600. Carlo Giudice ended up going off at -450. It's like this was the one that slipped under the radar because we knew he'd have a bad first round. Not that he'd have a bad first round, just that Kyler Phillips would likely have a good first round. The first round ended. All three judges scored the first round for Kyler Phillips. Everyone, the commentating team, they all know Kyler Phillips won that first round. And Lock Dog's -275 favorite after the first round in the live market. It was like they all knew where this one was going, and that's where it went. Props to Phillips for taking the damage and like surviving. I thought the third round, his volume was a little bit better. I wouldn't say caught a second win. And he didn't go out on his shield, but he at least attempted to keep this guy off him, countered with a couple nice left hooks. But Vinicius is young and in his prime, and unless you brought a gun with you, he's probably not going anywhere. So very, very solid victory for the Brazilian, who's going to be a problem in this division going forward.
Michael Johnson, first big upset, monster upset of the night. But like, I mean, I suppose it's always hindsight 2020, but like that number was really, really bad, right? Like it is always hindsight 2020, but it's like Zellhuber's been inconsistent. Zellhuber's shown us some pretty crap performances. I mean, got hit 156 times against Ribovic. Ribovic is good. He's a solid all-around fighter, but he's like a one-dimensional striker. So that was his most recent fight. The Trey Ogden fight, you go back 3 years. I mean, that was a massive red flag too. So even though Michael Johnson is moving up, moving up to 170, and he's taking on a guy that's so much bigger than, like, so much taller than him. Still got, veteran skill. He's got probably plenty of guys at the gym that are, 6'1" to 6'3", have similar type of striking. Michael Johnson looked incredibly prepared for this fight, and a -900 by the time of the fights went off at Bet Online, goes down in flames. Your thoughts?
Yeah, the one that's frustrating about this is you and I spoke about it at length about how Michael Johnson would absolutely kick the crap out of Daniel Zellhuber if he was just even just a few years younger. Like you can look at the style and know, yeah, well, how does Zellhuber struggle against guys that are going to fight him coming forward in the pocket? Because he's long, because he's rangy, he's not super fast. And so Johnson, his best performances are him dog walking guys. He's got big power. He can fight. He's kind of a tricky fighter, hard to get a beat on. But at 39, and is he slowing down? And this is vintage Mike. On the night of Dustin Poirier's retirement fight, Michael Johnson loomed in the shadows. He's got a knockout win over Dustin Poirier, and yet never made it to the same levels. Never got to main event these big cards. I think he main evented against Beneil Dariush once upon a time. But for the most part, it's like he ended up just being a gatekeeper. He's not in the top 15. He takes fun fights. He's a fan favorite of sorts. But Michael Johnson did not ever come close to that same height of Dustin Poirier. He is 3 years older than Dustin Poirier, and he put in a vintage performance here, man. Now I get it. Zellhuber ain't no Max Holloway, so I'm not saying anything bad against Poirier. Just, it's where guys are. But yeah, there was a lot of disrespect towards Michael Johnson. I'm guilty of taking Daniel Zellhuber, thinking he was going to keep up a high volume, a high pace, and that's what he was lacking. This is a guy that's landed over 100 significant strikes, twice in the UFC and once on the Contender Series. So 3 times, with his tenure with the organization. Paul mentioned the Ribovic fight where he got hit a bunch of times. He landed 121 significant strikes there against Prado, that fight was at lightweight, so Prado's not super undersized at lightweight, but, he lands like 110 on Prado. Against Johnson, he looked just absolutely mystified. The first round, Johnson doubles him up, and he's not doing anything special. He's just using his footwork and keeping active punches, going to the body. Zellhuber looks like he's slow, and it's hard to get a read. The round ends, and Zellhuber walks back, looks at Eric Nixick, kind of like does a smile, but like nods his head like, no worries, I got this. I got him figured out. I got this. Second round starts, and then Johnson drops him. And I think that kind of sealed the deal for Johnson. The first round you took off. You had a slow start. So you've given Johnson the first round. The second round, you're like, oh, now I'm going to start fighting him. But he lands the big knockdown. That now steals the round for him. Now you're down 0-2. You got to go for it. And he did. And I thought he fought a really nice third round, and he won the third round, but he's down 0-2. So, it's really important to not drop the first round. And I guess it's not detrimental. Winning the first round isn't everything. But you'll look at this card where it's like Marvin Vettori drops that first round. Well, it ends up biting him in the ass, Daniel Zellhuber gives that first round away. Kevin Holland gives that first round away. Like, you kind of got to get, unless you're Vinicius Oliveira, which is like, don't you worry. First round, he'll exert himself running away from the boogeyman. In the second round, the boogeyman's going to catch him. I suppose there's always going to be outliers, but, you got to fight. There's only 3 rounds. It's not boxing. You can't take 2-3 rounds to get warmed up and then take the later half of the fight. There is no later half. There's a first, a middle, and an end. You got to get going right away. So this is a quality win for Johnson, who turned back the clock. He beats a guy that's 10 years younger than him, who was, 3-2 in the UFC. It wasn't like he's the most hyped guy, but a nice win for Johnson, and it keeps him absolutely relevant. He's also one of the good guys, and you like to see a guy like that win. You hate to lose money. I get it. But with Michael Johnson, he's someone that you could root for. And then for Zellhuber, I mean, it really does put ththings in perspective. He's now 3-3 in the UFC. He's been with the company for 3 years. He's not made marginal improvements. His losses, Trey Ogden, Ribovics could be good. Michael Johnson, none of them are bad losses, but none of them are guys that are ranked in the top 15. He's getting in really good work in Vegas. All of his training partners rave about him, but when he physically gets in there, he's a tad bit slow, and he just doesn't have enough power behind his shots to really get his opponents to, think twice about engaging him. His ground game, small little narrative floating out there this week was that maybe he would pursue his ground game, try to take Johnson down and submit him, and he never even attempted it. So Johnson made him look bad is the bottom line, but also Zellhuber is not going to be a top 10 guy in the foreseeable future. I don't think. He's just too many holes in his game that he's just not quite fixing. But also can't take anything away from Michael the Menace Johnson. He did that to him. He made him look bad. So yeah, unfortunately didn't get this one right. That was the first big loss of the night. But kudos to MJ who made it happen.
Dan Ige, Patricio Freite. Freite utilizes wrestling, utilizes a bunch of standing cage control. Comes through as a dog, and that's a fight that like he 100% needed it as well. They bring in these Bellator guys, these former champions. They give them matchups where they're gonna look pretty bad. He had Yair Rodriguez, and you were saying it all week. I didn't listen to you. I didn't get involved in this fight, but I didn't listen to you on this. Anytime you bring up a dog, I should probably start listening. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't pretty, but he got the job done, and he exploited what Dan Ige really struggles with in his game. Like, we've seen it over and over. The path was 100% there. A lot of people just chose to be like, oh, Bellator guy stinks. Ige's going to knock him out or something like that. But not so much.
It seems like the markets for UFC fights, I'm not talking about regionals, but for UFC fights, it's like they've sharpened up pretty good, where it's like people know what they're looking at and they know what guys bring to the table, but there is still these narratives that'll float around there where it's easy to just get on the same side. Bellator guys are no good, right? Or I'm guilty of it. This guy's 39 years old, man. He's 40 years old. Like, he's done all of a sudden, which is not the case. But like, you find yourself buying into certain theories. And so the Bellator one was big this week. It's like there was a lot of recency bias, and in MMA, it's like you're only as good as your last fight. So Peyton Talbot, right? He loses to Rodney Barcelos, and then his very next fight, he's like a sizable underdog. A guy like Patricio Pitbull. People think that he's going to come to the UFC and beat Yair Rodriguez. One bad performance, and all of a sudden you're a betting underdog against Dan Ige, gatekeeper to the stars. You can still, I don't even want to say Dustin Poirier in the same thing, but same thing as Sean O'Malley versus Merab Dvalishvili, where people are like, man, I can't believe you're not digging Sean O'Malley. You guys are an idiot. This guy hasn't gooned in 12 months. This guy hasn't been on social media. How do you think that a guy that hasn't been on social media and hasn't been jerking it, how's he possibly going to lose to Merab Dvalishvili now? It's like, do you actually believe this? To a lesser extent, the Poirier thing, people weren't telling me Dustin's going to win because of this. I heard the same thing. How is he going to lose his retirement fight in Louisiana? How? It's like, well, I don't know. Max has got super high volume, and Max is 3 years younger, and Dustin's had a bunch of injuries, and he blew his knee out in his last fight. He's openly stated he's not fighting anymore after this. And Max, meanwhile, is jumping into title contention at 155 and is looking for all of the smoke. Like, what are your counterpoints? I just don't see him losing his retirement fight at home in Louisiana.
Who are
So,
these people that you're saying that said all these things?
well, I don't want to like name anybody in case they're watching the show. And it's not that I don't respect opinions. I respect all opinions, but I mean that was the common thread on it. Even like I had to work. Oh man, it was the most embarrassing thing I've ever done in my life. I had to work this. It's not power slap. It's slap fighting. So the
Oh,
slap. Yeah, no. Tim Sylvia was the main event.
gross.
It was real bad.
Sounds low.
Real. Oh, it was real. It was real bad. So, anyways, I go into the Fight Network office. Guy's there. I'm talking to him. He's just like, "Oh man, I don't engage. Like, I don't go to the office a whole lot. He works in Master Control, so I didn't know him. He got hired not that long ago. He's like, "Oh man, you do the Bookie Beatdown. You do the Dogger Pass. Like we QC it. It plays it on Fight Network, so he just sees it on the screen or the monitor. He's like, "Oh yeah, you're Cody blah blah blah." He's like, "I'm a big fight fan myself. Like I'm really pumped up for this fight this week." I'm like, "Oh sweet. Which one are you looking to?" Dustin Poirier, man. Dustin Poirier, dude. Fairy book ending, jump the guillotine at home.
Oh, I was
That's
on
the
that.
stuff. I know, and I'm not. I'm
That was
not trying to
18 to
flame.
1.
I'm not
Didn't
flaming
get I didn't
anybody.
go broke because of playing an 18 to 1 prop. You know what I mean? Would have been
Yeah,
nice. And he
listen,
did jump the guillotine.
I'm the idiot that parlayed
Just
Kevin
yeah.
Holland. You know, I'm the idiot that thought Daniel Zellhuber would be able to walk through Michael Johnson and win, 9 out of 10 times. So I'm not faulting anybody. I'm just saying there are certain narratives out there. I'd feel way better losing my ticket on Dustin Poirier at plus 130 or losing a guillotine submission or a submission prop at 18 to 1. I feel way better about losing that than losing Daniel Zellhuber
Of
lost to
course.
Johnson or
Costs a lot
Kevin
more
Holland.
money when you lose those too.
Of course. Plus, it's like one's Valiant. It's like, dude, Dustin dropped his ass. You telling me that punch doesn't land an inch over to the left or to the right? Maybe it puts him away. You don't think that? And he did jump a guillotine choke at one point. Just it
Round
didn't
2.
work. Yeah, it didn't
I
work.
got
It
excited
happens.
for a second. I was just like, "This is it. This is
Dems
it."
Dems
And
debrace,
then it never
man.
happened again. But I had that one moment, I had that one moment. I felt something inside.
Well, I felt for our guys in the Discord. One guy had AJ McKee round 3 submission plus 2,500, and like this triangle choke is locked in, and he just couldn't. He couldn't pull it off, right? So I mean, sometimes you get it and you hit it
Yeah, it
at
was a
plus
good it's probably a
2,500.
good bet.
Well, it was a good. You lost money, so it never sounds like, oh, it was a good bet. But you're right. Gambling is not a sprint. It's not like, oh, I won money on this one event. I'm the man. And you'll see it in any comment section. It's like this guy had a winning night. The comments like this guy's the GOAT. You're the GOAT for this one night, for this one event. But I mean, it's longevity. So if you're getting close on plus 2,500 tickets, yeah,
Eventually you're gonna hit them.
in the long run, you know what you're looking at. You were wise to it. It just didn't work out this time. Marvin lost the fight this time. Doesn't mean he wouldn't win it the next one. It's like a certain set of circumstances. If that guy Kane from PFL, if he
That one
doesn't,
cost me so much. Like, cause I had
I didn't
him.
even want to discuss it more than what I'm just gonna say
I
now.
mean, I am all my like cross promotional parlays and stuff. Like, I didn't even have the heart to go through my losing wagers because I was just like, he was just about to he was going to finish that Jaffe Holton.
Joffy's sitting on his ass with his head
Is
down.
borderline over, and then he knees him in the head. But at the end of the day, and I had to, when I was just thinking about it, I was like, man, there's lots of tickets that literally just had him that died. Would have been a very profitable weekend. It wasn't that bad of a weekend for me, because we'll talk about it in the next fight with Kevin Holland, but and like Atiba got through, and it was not. It didn't turn. Like, I look at my balances, and I'm like, it doesn't seem like all that much happened at the end of the day. But if Kane didn't illegally knee the dude when he was like incredibly illegal, as soon as I saw it, it's just like, oh my god. But this is the problem with it, is that I knew he only had 3 fights experience. He was like minus 400 when we shared in the Discord. He closed out like minus 700 maybe. We beat the crap out of that line. We got, I think we were definitely on the right side, but shit happens in MMA, man. And especially with like chalky stuff, especially when you're dealing with somebody that's got 3 professional fights. He looks like an absolute certified badass. He's got like a good pedigree, everything like that. But amateurs make mistakes, and it is what it is. You dust yourself off, and there's fights from Wednesday until Sunday, starting with UAE Warriors, and then there's a Anthony Pettis fighting on Sunday. So no shortage of opportunities to get it back for us this week. But yeah, let's move on to the next fight here. We got Kevin Holland, Daniel Rodriguez. I was on the overs, over 2.5, and fight goes to the decision, plus 170 and plus 130, I believe, in this fight. And yeah, never in doubt, Cody. Never in doubt. There wasn't a single moment where I thought one of these guys was going to get finished. My biggest takeaway from Kevin Holland versus, oh, that's the wrong tab there. Kevin Holland versus D-Rod is one. Holland's chin may be something to watch moving forward. The guys we've always, and maybe it's only because it's at 170. I don't know. Not 100% sure, but like knocked down twice by D-Rod. I didn't really see that coming. Holland's always been so super durable that I was pretty surprised. It's like these are not big shots. These are shots that Kevin Holland usually in the past took without even batting an eye. And I think maybe the fact that this guy fights like 5, 6, 7 times a year, maybe it's starting to catch up with him. He's not even that old. Like, how old is Holland at this point? He's born in
32? 30, yeah, he'd be
born in
33.
92.
He'd be turning 33.
Yeah, 32, 33.
33 in November.
It's got a lot of miles, you know, as they say with cars. It's like, you know, country miles or city miles. Kevin Holland's got city miles on him at this point. I'm making like a mental note to look at his opponent's knockout props moving forward after this fight, because you saw a lot of bad things, things that should be concerning about Kevin Holland. Hopefully he takes a bit of a break, because the guy's always so active, but this was a damn war. Almost came back. But the long and story of it, and I'm not trying to dunk on you or anybody else, is like we talked about it on the show. It's like, yeah, Kevin Holland's a bit of a goofball, you know? He'll end up in fights. I wouldn't even say he was all that much of a goofball in this fight, but it's like sometimes he likes to play with his food, fight kind of, you know, recklessly and so on and so forth. You can't be laying minus 600 on Kevin Holland, and he kind of showed you why on Saturday night.
Yeah, to me, this is another reason why, like, you can't get off to a bad start. Like, he 100% lost the second round, and he 100% won the third round. So it came down to the first, and like, yeah, he just didn't do enough. Rodriguez fought an excellent game plan. His boxing was on point. He, of course, kept up that high volume, and he showed off some power. But this is the trouble when you look at a guy on paper, and you look at the stats, and you look at the tape, and you watch the footage, and you're like, this is the idea that I've got created in my head. Kevin Holland, going into the fight, had 26 fights in the UFC. He has never been knocked down in the UFC. He's got 2 losses by TKO. The one against Roman Dolitz, he popped his rib and quit after the first round.
Mm-hmm.
His fight with Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, he broke his hand and quit after the 4th round. He's never been knocked out. He's never been knocked down. And yet D-Rod, who Rodriguez can pop, but he's the biggest power puncher. Morono ate everything he had for days. He drops him twice. So what you're saying about is Kevin Holland's chin starting to go? I believe so. Now, there's 2 train of thoughts here. One, this is what happens when you fight 5 times a year. This was his 4th fight of 2025. Had he won this one, figured to maybe get 2 more in by the end of the year. He's fighting all of the time. So either he's training all the time and sparring all the time, and he's taking a lot of damage in the gym, or more likely scenario, he's not sparring at all. He's just going fight to fight. I will train. I'll do my cardio. I'll work on my ground game. I'll work on strategy. I'll work on hitting mitts and hitting pads. And then come fight time, that's when I'm going to take the damage. I can't be taking damage all the time. So instead of doing a camp where, hey, it's an 8-week camp and hard sparring stops, 2 weeks out or 10 days out, more than likely, and then we lead into the fight, it's probably just like, yeah, man, I fought, then I took a few weeks off, and then Dana called, and then they got me on this card, so I jumped on this one, and I'm still in the healing process, but then I show up to that one, and I got to make 170, so I got to cut weight. And, oh, that one's 185, so I'm not going to cut weight. Like, yeah, it's not so much he's toying around with his opponents in the cage as much as it's hard to stay focused, hard to stay healthy. If you fight 3 times a year, the chances of you showing up sick or showing up injured or just having an off night are significantly less than if you're fighting 6 times a year. You're just increasing the chances of you delivering a bad performance. And that's what happened. He delivered a bad performance. In the first round, I thought he could have won it. It was a close first round. It's just he really didn't have any sense of urgency. The second round is where he gets just dropped twice, a whole bunch of damage. Kudos to him for surviving. And also, D-Rod didn't really fall into the ground all that much. He'd let Kevin sit there and take a second to get his wits back about him. And then in the third round, it's like, okay, I want to say it could be 1-1, maybe, but like we need a finish. And then he's got the finish. It's there. This thing is over and done with. And he still finds a way to blow it. He would have got a 10-8. Even without the finish, he would have got a 10-8. We could have got a draw. And if he did get the finish, we could have won. And instead, it's like he allows D-Rod to get on top of him and mount him. And he's throwing up submissions. It's like, no. But it is what it is. It's a bad bet. It's my fault. My read was off, and Kevin Holland's durability wasn't as good as I thought it would be. And his power, well, he hurt D-Rod pretty good. His power wasn't terrible. He didn't fight a bad fight. It's just D-Rod fought an excellent fight. I can't take anything away from Rodriguez. He did fight a good fight. The power was there. The boxing was there. Apparently, he greased. I don't know. I don't care. I think he was just the better man that night, and he beat Kevin Holland. It's again, it's a tough pill to swallow, but you look at this card, and it's like there were so many better picks than a minus. We didn't pay minus 700. We did the show earlier in the week. He was minus 470.
I didn't play Kevin Holland.
Yeah,
at all.
but in any universe, Kevin Holland minus 400 against anybody other than Charlie Ontiveros. In that case, I would definitely be down to take some more Kevin Holland minus 400 over Charlie O. Outside of that, yeah, this was the nail in the coffin as him as a bona fide contender at 170. And then to go back to the chin thing, he got hit with 105 of Jack Della Maddalena's best shots, and he walked through them. Now he gets hit by Rodriguez and he just slumps over like that. It's some serious regression for a 32-year-old. Best days might be in the rearview mirror, but I don't want to say bad performance and he's shit in the apple pie, which is what happened. I get it. It's like Rodriguez, similar to Michael Johnson, put in a really solid outing, and they're quality guys when they show up, and they both showed up. Flip side of that, it's easy to hate on Zellhuber and hate on Kevin Holland. It's my fault for putting so much trust in them. And also, neither guy's a great fighter. Neither guy's, an amazing fighter. They just, I kind of bought into a narrative, I guess. So my bad, Kevin Holland. Let me down, Big Mouth. Let me down.
Kopylov, Costa needed this one bad. And he whooped his ass, man. Like, it was Costa moving forward, landing more strikes every single round. Kind of showed that there's levels to the game. Costa is such a goof that, like, I just avoided this fight like the plague, to be perfectly honest. But good for him. He got back up on track. I don't know what the ceiling is for Costa at this point, but Lord knows if he wants to get big paychecks, end up in big fights, and be at the top, like, he needed to get through Roman Kopylov. I'll tell you that much. Your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, again, this is a hindsight's 2020. Is that this is a massive step down for Paulo Costa, and this is a massive step up for Roman Kopylov. But of course, if you're going by Narrative Nation, Paulo hasn't knocked anybody out in a long time. He hasn't looked good, and he was kind of all jittery at the press conference, and he looked a little bit lethargic on the scales. And none of that matters, man. It's all smoke and mirrors. This guy's a showman when he needs to be. He's a performer when he needs to be. This is a solid performance from him, and like Paul mentioned, he absolutely needed it. After I got nuked on Zellhuber and Kevin Holland, I was like, I'm just going to chase and try to rebuild something. But Roman Kopylov at minus 220, I just lost on Zellhuber and Kevin Holland. Like, I don't want it. And I just didn't have the balls to go on Paulo Costa. So I took the over 2.5 at minus 160 and parlayed it with Max. And then a separate ticket over 2.5 in this fight, parlayed with the over 4.5 in Max. So that was like my little chase to end off the night. And then Paulo drops him hard in the first round. I'm like, this is just not my night. We killed the prelims. We were having a good run. Marvin almost cashed as an underdog. Patricio Freite did cash as an underdog. Things are really not looking that bad. And then, like, when it got Lock Dog kick some ass, when it got bad, It went from really good to really bad, like really quick. So this just seemed like that was going to be it. So kudos to Roman Kopylov. He at least saved that ticket by getting his ass up and taking the beating. And for Costa, I mean, I guess he's not a murderous power puncher. I mean, he couldn't take him out of there, but his cardio looked good. His volume looked good. I wouldn't say vintage performance, but certainly the best performance that he's had in probably a number of years. Part of that is he's taking a step down against Kopylov. Part of that is his back was against the wall and he took it seriously. So he's a character. You need characters. He's got a great online persona. No doubt that you'd like to see him in more meaningful fights, but he needed to pass this test, and he did exactly that. So Kopylov wasn't a guy that I was super high on all week. He was, I think, the second line to the last on the bottom of the PRP. Like I could see ways he would blow it. It's just hard to get behind Paulo given the losing streak, given the nature of him half-assing it or half taking things seriously and just, dull performances. It was hard to really have confidence in him, but watching that, it was like, that was pretty clear. One guy's just a level above the other. Always has been and likely always will be until he's, 40 or 50. Who knows at that point what happens. But yeah, for the time being, Paulo Costa beats Roman Kopylov 9 out of 10 times, 10 out of 10 times. He had his number.
Finally, Max Holloway, Dustin Poirier, retirement fight, Dustin Poirier, and it was a damn war. Max just kills you with volume, just over and over and over. Round 2 was nice for Poirier though. Got the knockdown, jumped that guillotine, which I was getting a little bit excited for a second there. With an 18-1 ticket, but I knew it was a long shot. Max is not easy, and it wasn't really close. But like he hurt him, grabbed his neck, and I'm like, oh shit, this is actually happening. And then rounds 3, 4, and 5, Max is a tough guy, really, really tough guy to try to beat. Super, super fun fight. Absolute legends of the sport. What can you really say about these guys besides bravo? And you wish, well, and on top of that, it's like these two guys, like, there's a lot of guys who get to the level of stardom, and it goes to their head. They're kind of jerks, and like you may not even know about it, but like people who know them know about it. Like both of these guys are just absolute class acts who have been true professionals, have done it the right way the entire way. So it was a nice, like, even in defeat, it was a nice send off for Dustin Poirier, who has been 100% a company man. One of those like fighters that never had the actual belt, but like is a he's like a first ballot Hall of Famer just for like the wars and how many quality fights he had out there and everything like that. If you don't like either one of these guys, you don't like fighting. Max Holloway, Dustin Poirier, thank you for a great fight on Saturday night. Your thoughts?
Yeah, normally in trilogy fights, it's like the worst of all the fights because it's they're a little bit older and they've made a little bit money and they're a little bit slower and it hurt. And you have it in your mind that it's like, dude, every time Sam Stout fights Spencer Fisher, it's awesome. And every time that Manhoff is going to fight Cyborg, Evangelista Cyborg Santos, it's going to be awesome. And it's like you get let down. This was an excellent trilogy match. I thought it was very fun. Fans got their money's worth back and forth. I honestly only scored the second round for Dustin Poirier.
Yeah.
But outside of that, it was competitive. It was fun. At any moment he could have landed that big shot. At any moment he could have turned the tides. He's cast iron durable. And similar to Michael Johnson, if Dustin Poirier was like, I want to continue to fight, no doubt he can still continue to fight at a very high level, but he doesn't need it. And I think that was the coolest thing about this whole thing was seeing a guy not necessarily at the top of his game, but like just a notch below the top of his game saying, this is cool and I'm done. I made my money fighting, which maybe 1% of the fighting population will ever be able to see. He's got a successful business. He's got a family. He's got assets. He's got property. He's got businesses. He's got a well-respected reputation. He could go to autograph signings. He could teach seminars. He could open up his own gym. He could do quite literally anything in this world that he wants. The coolest thing about it is he goes 5 rounds with Max Holloway. Max Holloway knocks him down. Max Holloway landed 198 significant strikes to the head. He's in the back hanging with Max's kids. They're like, thanks for giving our dad this opportunity. He's like, no. Your dad gave me this opportunity. And like, I wish him the best. Like, he's so well spoken. And he just got punched 198 significant times, punched and kicked, smashed in the face, knocked down for 25 minutes at the highest level in a real hot venue in Louisiana in the summertime. And it's like his brain never skipped a beat. And you want every fighter to leave like that.
Yep.
That he's got all of his cognitive abilities. He's smart. He's intellectual. He's likable. He's made his money. And he's opting to walk away into the sunset. So I watched a movie. What was it called? It was a pro wrestling thing a long time ago. They're talking about Terry Funk. And Terry Funk's the one saying it. And he's like, oh, I'm having my retirement match. It's like, well, you're going to win. And it's like, no, in pro wrestling, it's always better to go out on your back. It's like, what do you mean? It's like, if you win, there's always that, oh, I won my last match. You know, your Uriah Faber. Uriah Faber beat, was it Ricky Simone in his retirement fight? It's like, holy shit, dude, that was awesome. What a great way to end it. But then it's like, oh, I can still do this. I want more. You want more. Now you're trying to fight Henan Barrow for the GFL for a quick payday. Like, nobody ever just, stays retired. But like Terry Funk's saying, it's better to go on your back. Let the next guy take over. You're done. It's better to just, I'm the entertainment business. Are you all entertained? Place is super entertained. Did you like my career? Was it a great career? Awesome career. Then there's nothing more to give, man. Max beat me. Max is 3 years younger. He'll continue to ride this thing out for 3 more years himself. And when he's 36, someone will put him to bed. Just the way the thing goes, right? I want to say I mentioned the last 8 fights of the card. Was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? The last 8 fights all went to decision, okay? But Vinicius Oliveira dropped Kyler Phillips. Michael Johnson dropped Daniel Zellhuber. Kevin Holland dropped Daniel Rodriguez, and Daniel Rodriguez dropped Kevin Holland twice. Paulo Costa dropped Roman Kopylov, and Max Holloway and Dustin Poirier both exchanged knockdowns. That's 2, 3, 5, 6, 7 knockdowns of those 8 fights that went to decision. Overall in the card, because Cody got a knockdown, that's 8. Dulatov got one, that's 9. And Carly Judice got one. There's 10 knockdowns collectively. This is a really good card. And so to have Dustin lay it on the line, to just put that little cherry on top, fine offering. From a financial standpoint, yeah, well, the parlays could have been a little bit better. Props weren't bad. It was a slight positive on the night. But again, it's like I avoided Jimmy Crute by submission because I didn't think there was enough value on it, and that looked way easy. I avoided Brandon Allen versus Marvin to go the distance because I didn't like the price. But again, that one was probably Marvin fights just go to decision. Apparently, that's just the move. It doesn't matter what happens.
You guys got a brick for a head.
Yeah, he's so goddamn durable. Never cut guys like that, man. Just keep parading him out here with his shorts on background and let him do his thing. Fine offering from the UFC, because the talk going into this was, oh, it's a good main event, and then the rest of the card's suspect. I thought it was a solid offering. And then, yeah, we're on to the next one. So as Paul mentioned, it's another hot week for just regional promotions starting from Wednesday all the way to Sunday. And then there's another UFC on the Saturday. So, yeah, the recap. I'll apologize that it's coming out a little bit later. I got banged up last night, had a good time. And then I woke up this morning and it's so hot and I'm sweaty and I got 3 kids whining in my ear. And my wife's just kind of like, you did this, dude. You chose to go to bed at 4 a.m. This is on you. And then after that, it was like a struggle. So my man Paul was super patient. He's like, I'll cut my grass and do some yard work and let me know. And
I didn't know. Full disclosure to the people, I didn't know that other part of the story. We actually we agreed for a certain time today. I sat here for 25 minutes in in my little studio room, and I was just like, I got stuff to do today. So I sent him a text and was like, let's do it later. I got to cut all the things, because we watch so much tape breaking down as many cards as we possibly can every single week. All the things I kind of let go. I'm like, Sunday has to be the day for me to do that type of stuff. So it's also why I'm not on all of these recaps and so on and so forth. Well, just hop in for the pay-per-views.
Yeah, normally I try to do the recap. So 9 in the morning, 10 in the morning, I wake up and then I may have a quick bite to eat, or I may help get the kids out of bed. I'm just going to rifle off this quick 45-minute, hour-long recap real quick and then go back. But yeah, I never woke up until 10 o'clock this morning. So I was like, oh man. And then at that point, it's like, hey, you didn't feed the kid any bottles last night. I had to get the kids up and get them dressed and feed them breakfast. So now it's on you. So now you woke up, you're super groggy. And I got 3 kids. So my plan was they take naps at 12. So I'm like, well, when they take a nap at noon, I'll record with Paul. And then I also took a nap at noon, Paul. So it wasn't my finest effort, but it is what it is. We got the recap out. Appreciate the people that do take the time to listen to it. You still got Monday to listen to it as well. And then from me and Paul's standpoint, this off button's going to get hit, the record stops. And then, yeah, we just got to start getting ready for what's to come, UFC coming up and then multiple regional show promotions. So, like anything, you maybe swung and missed on this UFC. And I think Fury top ticket hit, CFFC, we hit the whole thing. Tough Enough, we hit the whole thing. PFL, we got nuked by Johnny Eblin. So, like, those are just the ebbs and flows, right? You hit
Man,
some, you lose
plus
some, but
500 ticket on
you dust yourself off.
Simba.
Oh, that was
Simba
sick. Yeah.
Hakanya.
That
That
guy's my
was
guy.
huge for me. That the
Zimbabwe fighters are now, like, right with
that
Peruvians on my list of I'm betting these guys.
that saved my week, to be perfectly honest. That was
Yeah.
the big one for me in terms of I said it even on our show that we did, which was on the Patreon. That was my favorite underdog by a long shot on the card, and he was plus 500. And he got, I mean, there was a point deducted, but like he got a 30-25 on one judge's scorecard. So like that stuff, that was not
Yeah.
close. It was a
No, and
very clear, concise, easy 30-27, and then one round that was like a little bit more dominant.
yeah, he pulled the Iron Turtle, essentially, gets elbowed in the back of the head, and he coulda just been like, "I can't fight," but
Hmm.
was like, "Nah, I'm good to go." Joffrey Holton, meanwhile, was like, he pulled a Bellotto. He was like, "I can see, I can see." His eyes were both wide open, and there was, like, no visible damage, and
No.
he's like, "Mate, I can't see, mate. Are you not seeing me face?" It's like, "Oh, this slick son of a bitch is gonna get a
He
DQ
got
win. I
us.
know it."
He got us
He got a
good.
DQ win, man,
God
so
damn it, Jaffe. I'll
I
fade
was
him. I'm gonna fade
classy.
his ass again in
Oh,
his
he's in the
next fight.
second round of a tournament. He's
I
gonna
know.
get killed in the second round.
Who's he fighting? Nana?
If he is, back up the Brinks truck, because Nana's patient. He's actually smart. He drops you, that's it.
Nana's performance wasn't
Yeah.
great.
Well, I thought it was pretty solid considering
That
it's like he's
groggy guy was pretty. Like it was that guy was ass.
right, but it went to decision, and then he's nuked everybody in the first round or two. Like, he's never had to fight deeper
Yeah,
in.
it was
His
good
takedown
learning
defense looked
experience.
good, landed some good shots, but, yeah, you're going from fighting nobodies to stepping up in competition. There's always gonna be a learning curve, but, yeah, PFL Africa. Man, we watch so much stuff.
Dude, there's
Think about it.
cards this week from Wednesday all the way through to Sunday. Two UAE Warriors. I imagine like Dana's probably doing like a looking for a fight this week. So there's one on Wednesday, there's one on Thursday. Friday
I prefer
there's
that,
multiple
though.
cards. Saturday there's cards.
I
It's a
prefer
busy
that.
week. There's stuff to bet every single week. So if you're interested, link is in the description to get onto the Patreon, and then go from the Patreon, go into the community tab. Everyone that joins new in the community tab has information on how to link your account from Patreon over the Discord, where you'll find just our plays, but on the Patreon you'll find all of our content. Don't know if we're going to be doing any content for the UAE Warriors, but there will be picks in the Discord section. Anyway, if you're not interested in that, you're just like, I'm just here for recaps. Why are they talking about all these other things? Then Cody will be back next week doing this recap, and we will be back on Tuesday night giving you our UFC preview show for UFC Abu Dhabi. That is it for us. Hope you enjoyed the show. For Cody, I'm Paul, saying goodbye and good luck.